Sabine studied maths and computing in Germany. She started her career at CERN in Geneva and moved to London to freelance. There, she became an advocate for human and children's rights, which culminated in being the whistleblower of the Hampstead children. That brought her 4 years in prison, where she discovered amazing color patterns for prime numbers as a novelty. At age 79, she calls herself a digital veteran, mathematical artist, and web activist. How are you?
Well, I'm amused when I hear my life like this.
Can you believe you did all that stuff? It's quite a resume.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's true. I can believe it. Yeah. But in a way, I'm much more concerned about now and the future than my past, you know?
Yes, I understand that for sure. Can you tell us, well, first of all, let's just start with, how did you get involved with CERN?
Oh, that was so-called chance. I was studying at the German Computer Center. That's what it was called, like, and the CERN computer was kaput, and they came to use with their huge magnetic tapes and to use this IBM mainframe machine in Darmstadt instead. And so I got to find out about CERN, and it so happened that my boyfriend had a sister who worked there, and I ended up finding out about jobs that would be perfect for me, and I applied and I got it.
It's a very strange place to work.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it was completely ideal for me. And because I could marry, if you like, language and my love of language and my ability in maths and computing. And but I eventually got bored. So when you say it's a strange place, it has become strange, and I now know even much better why. I mean, I was completely enthralled listening to Brian Sen on your show, and it's just so similar and so parallel. Because when I got there, I thought, oh, this is wonderful. This is where they understand the smallest and the largest, i.e., they know about God. Well, and of course, that's exactly what they don't.
Right.
And that's what science is about. But while I was in prison, I had the letter of an angel, which mentioned the generalization of numbers by letters.
Right.
And that is an extraordinarily important concept, because that's fundamentally what algebra is about and what equations are about. Whereas the code that is in computer programs is also equations, but of a different kind. The functionality is different. In algebra, everything is a function of something, but that function is different from the functionality that is executed in a computer.
Yes, so I believe that numbers are, the binary code is, in my estimation, the language of that's our base language, and perhaps maybe the language of other extraterrestrial beings.
Well, binary in terms of numbers is 0 and 1. In terms of physics, it's on or off. It's
right.
Analog.
I actually had a handler describe that to me. You can be on or off through binary code, and he actually drew me a diagram. I'd like to bring you to London. Yep. Now, when you moved to London, you started getting involved in human rights and children's rights?
No, it was also kind of magical. I took the train from Geneva I wanted to go to Wales because there was a meeting on computer communication. I was always fascinated by using computers for communication, and so computer networking. And I stopped by in Paris, where Bernard Benson was a former physicist who had contributed to some nuclear research, and he was giving a talk on peace. And I stopped by, and I was extremely excited that I talked to him, and we found out that we were both going on to London. So we're going to meet there. Well, I went on to Brussels, and in Brussels, I stayed with a friend, and I had this extraordinary vision of a network of computers, of a peace network of people and computers protecting our planet. That was
Wow.
Wow.
1981, long before the internet.
Wow, Sabine.
And I ended up going to this meeting in Wales, where I met a guy from IBM, and he talked to me about a church in London, and that was St. James's Church, Piccadilly. And I visited it, and they had a peace caravan. And I I met the vicar, and he said, you need a base. And I said, and you need a program, because I was used to organizing events and to organizing things. And so I organized meetings, a program of events for him. I got a program, typeset, and had my little Apple computer. And so that's what got me to London, the vision of a peace network and St. James's Church, Piccadilly. My passion for computer networking resulted also in setting up, or in ending up meeting the guy who set up the Global Cafe, which was the second internet cafe in London. The first one happened to have been in Geneva. And I built a website, because at that time I had met Lord Zublick, who had a big chip on his shoulder. His great-grandfather was made bankrupt, and he was therefore very, very keen on reforming the money system. And as a Christian, he found out that usury is a sin, basically,
Yes.
and which in Islam is a deadly sin, riba. And I ended up organizing a forum for stable currencies with him at the House of Lords, and lots of people came who were victims of banks and other institutions, courts. And eventually, I discovered not only these kind of business victims who were generally men, but also women and victims of the family courts. And so that's how I became more of an activist, because I loved building websites, because I loved using I've always loved using different kinds of software to express what I thought. Actually, I ended up writing one book on networking with my then husband, because I've always called myself a networker. I connect people and ideas, and I use computers to connect people and to connect ideas.
So how did you get involved with the Hampstead case?
The mother, a Russian woman, contacted me via one of my websites. One of my websites was for the Association of Mackenzie Friends. And because Mackenzie Friends are sort of legally recognized lay legal advisors. There was once a case, Mackenzie versus Mackenzie, and that's how the name got established.
So when she came to you, what did she tell you that made you take up the cause? Because the repercussions that you suffered were, I believe you were sentenced to 9 years in jail and you served 4. Is that correct? Or
yeah.
So what were you told, and what do you believe today?
I didn't need to believe anything. I'm too much of a scientist to know than to believe anything. She contacted, or was looking for some Mackenzie friend, because she was let down by 2 solicitors, 2 lawyers, and the last one had given her the interviews of the police with the children, and she told me what had happened, and she gave me the 5 folders of her legal history with her husband, who had 5 criminal convictions. Not husband, they were never married. The father of the children, he had 5 criminal non-molestation orders, and I think 2 criminal orders against him. I don't remember that stuff. It's 9 years ago, and so I had all of her folders. I had the videos that the police had recorded, and then a bunch of about 25 or so shorter videos, which she had, private videos. She and her partner and somebody else had made them. There was nothing not to believe. The children are and were believable. And above all, because they were talking on their own as well as together.
Can you explain to our audience what the Hampstead case was?
Well, Hampstead is a suburb in North London, where I happen to have lived in West Hampstead, and that was part of the trauma, I suppose, that they described details involving the shoe shop at my tube station. I knew that shoe shop extremely well. I mean, it's just so. I'm sorry. I'm not through the traumatization of this whole experience yet.
That's okay. We do understand trauma. That's one thing we understand on this show. We actually have a team on Mondays called the Trauma Triage Team, in which people who have been traumatized sit on. There's about, I think I have 12 people that come in and out, and they just they help with work and providing information. So I'd actually like to ask you if you would like to be a member of that team. So you might want to go back and take a look at some of our shows. They're on Monday, every Monday from 10 to 11. It's Trauma Triage Team, and they all the members get together. They prepare a PowerPoint, and they provide information and then solutions. And everyone on that team has been severely traumatized. I'm also one, as you well know, you and I spoke regarding the traumatization. When you're incarcerated for that amount of time, you're separated from the world, and Lord knows all the things that happened to you when you were there. But you said that you did have some revelations while you were in prison regarding the prime number. So for our audience who doesn't understand what the Hampstead case was, I'm going to look it up real quick. And it was 2 children. Can you tell me who their parents were?
Well, the Russian mother and the father, whom they accused of being the leader of a cult.
And it was also surrounding. So it was 2 young children.
They were 8 and 9 when they made the disclosures. The boy was 8 and the girl was 9.
So it's Ella. I don't know how to say her middle name or her married name.
Gariba is her Russian name, and
Draper
was her first husband, who actually was also part of the cult. He turned out to have been. Well, I don't want to mention names. I don't want to.
That's all right. I'll give a little rundown. So she was the mother of the 2 children that were ritually abused in a satanic cult in Hampstead, England, and it said in this article, it's saying updates in 2022. The video and transcript are linked below with links to the Hampstead website. All documents and evidence that have been suppressed by authorities who are trying to cover up this case. So the brief summary is in 2014, 2 young children, Elisa and Gabriel, provided their testimonies of horrifying abuse they'd experienced by a powerful cult operating out of the Hampstead Christ Church Primary School and the surrounding community. Their testimony was captured in hours of video and audio recordings. Scenes of satanic rituals, sexual abuse, infant murder, and cannibalism were described in vivid detail by the children. I know I've watched this, David. I'm sure you have.
They accused their father, Ricky Dearman, of leading 175 parents, teachers, and religious leaders in this neighborhood. And Scotland Yard got involved, but all the articles that we're seeing here, and I believe you, Sabine.
I do too. They're all saying it's a
100%.
hoax.
Everybody's saying it's a hoax, but we've heard enough. I've followed this case for many years, and I know this is the truth. So I don't know why they're attempting to discredit everyone involved here.
You don't know. Well, I mean, this is the story is that somebody started. I know the person, a very fascinating website called Hampstead Research, and then, oh gosh, I was the person was employed whose job it was to destroy somebody's reputation.
Yes.
And her husband, and so they set up a website called Hampstead Research.
Right.
So, and that's where they put up names and photos of at some stage at least 40 of us supporters, and otherwise they were clearly extremely well informed. So directly upon the police. I never looked into that really, because for me, the trauma was not just prison. It was, I mean, the solicitor I had for my trial, she even said there must have been somebody high up involved the way you've been hounded. I mean,
Yes.
I was hounded in February 2015. I left London because my closest collaborator, Rex, had seen an email which recommended prosecution. So I thought I'd avoid prosecution by leaving. But then I came back in August because there was an appeal. By that time, there was a lawyer who had come forward to protect and defend me, as he said. But I passed him on to the mother. I said, I beg you to use this lawyer. And she said, I'm in no hurry to instruct anybody. I mean, it just depends. I guess I'm half Slavic, so I'm a bit more passionate than the average German. And I just get very irate about anything injustice. And
well, good. We need more people like you.
We do indeed.
Thank you. Well, so there was an appeal meeting, an appeal hearing in the Royal Court in August and 2015, and I came back for that, and that was my first of, I don't know, I mean, at least 10 or so arrests. Later, they were turned into interviews, and it's honestly, there's the build-up. One of the worst things was that when they eventually got me again a second time into prison. First, I was 10 days, and they asked for bail, and my friend raised £20,000 to get me out again. But then they entrapped me. You see this? They used entrapment over and over, and it's. I don't know whether it's worth going into all of these details.
Yeah, basically what you went through, Sabine, this is a protocol for all whistleblowers. Their characters assassinated, they're thrown in crazy houses, they're drugged, they're chained to beds, they're falsely accused, they're divested of any financial means to fight back. You have a court system that, as you now know, is severely compromised. And this is, people are like, oh, well, this is just the United States. No, this is a global mission in which you will be attacked consistently, and many of the whistleblowers are murdered, as you well know.
Yeah, I just got an email from a very, very good close friend who also said this is extremely dangerous, so be careful. But how am I careful? I mean, out of my emotion, I was entrapped by story films into an interview. I was groomed into that interview. And then they came a day early, and I only found out at the end of filming that they were on the wrong side. I mean, this is because on some level I'm too naive, I suppose. And that is that became the story of this film for Channel 4. But if that hadn't come out, I would not be talking to you now. The film, and I only found out by chance only in November that this film it was supposed to be screened in August, and for some reason or other it didn't happen. And then now it's I get the publication from another British journalist that it's screened for the beginning of the year. Somebody else tells me it's March. And it says, accused, the pedophile hoax, the Hampstead pedophile hoax. I say, excuse me? I read the story of my court case. That's the narrative of it, that's become the film. So the 4 women who accused me for all the suffering that they experienced, because all of a sudden, I never ever contacted any of them individually. All of a sudden, I was responsible for everything that happened on the internet. And so that, and they are now the stars of this film. I mean, this is
that's what the psychopaths do. The psychopaths accuse you of doing the things that they're
it's gaslighting is what it is. It's gaslighting. We've talked about that.
So I just want to let you know that we think that you're a hero. We appreciate you disclosing what you did, and and serving the time that you served in jail must have been incomprehensibly difficult for you.
Well, actually, coming out was in a way even harder, because this 4 years of not being online and to catch up and to have lost so many websites and having been deported to Germany, because I had to close my bank accounts and couldn't support anything online at all anymore. And I had over 70 WordPress websites. And WordPress had changed so badly that I couldn't even publish my prime numbers properly, or I did it as well as I could, in complete naivete. But I had to when I downgraded, it all just broke into pieces. So but interestingly enough, I have since allowed myself the freedom to think more along those numbers, and have come up with wonderful, absolutely wonderful insights, which I'm now structuring. I mean, digital number patterns is the catchword phrase, if you like. That's what I'm working on as the harvest of my prison time and the post-prison time, because it's now been 2 years that I've been out. But
do you have any current websites that people can find you at, and how can people help you? Do you have any kind of a PayPal or GoFundMe or?
I have set up PayPal, and my website is my full name .podia.com, and but that's just it's the SRA side, because I look at the Hampstead case as one of, I don't know how many, in at least 16 countries. You see, I was very, very encouraged by 2 Swiss films that came out that both mentioned the Hampstead case. I didn't know who and where and when the case was mentioned. There's a German lawyer who writes to me now that he mentioned it in his book. I didn't know. But these 2 Swiss films are called The Blood Cult, and have incredibly far reach, because they are very international, very language-based, 14 different languages, and very Christian. And this second film came out only end of October. 111 victims, 50 perpetrators, 50 witnesses, has had 2.2 million views already.
Yes, there are hundreds and hundreds of these cases that are not being told, that are still being obfuscated through the court system, which the court system, unfortunately, is full of corrupt players, which protect the elite and the Satanists, which are installed in governments across the globe.
Yeah, it's very comforting to speak to somebody who knows and who understands.
Well, Sabine, I'd like to invite you to please come on our trauma triage team, and
Thank you.
I will be in touch with you. And I want to thank you so very much for all that you've endured and for still standing and still speaking the truth. That's what we do. That's just who we are. I want to thank you.
Thank you for it. Takes one to know one, as they say in the UK.
Well, we love you so much. Thank you for your courage, and we will talk to you again real soon. Hopefully, you'll join our team on Trauma Triage. You'll be a lot of help to a lot of people. I think it'll help you as well.
Yes.
I'm sure it will. I mean, two trauma groups have helped so far already, as created by a therapist who lost her license because she talked about it.
Great.
All right. Well, Penny will be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sabine.
Thank you for allowing me to talk to you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.